Hey guys, super excited to introduce you to 3 brand new waxes: Creme Reflective Paste, Conceal PPF and Matte Wax, and Gelee Wheel Wax. Now, a bit of the backstory is I've always wanted to create a home garage just like this one here, but at my house. And when I go home at the end of the day after detailing cars, I want to just relax and kind of have that therapeutic nature. For me, and I'm assuming a lot of you, I like to just wash my car and wax the car. There is this dance, this therapeutic dance that is amazing. And I wanted to do it with products that smelled good. They were easy on, easy off, not complicated, felt great in my hand, and made the car look fantastic, of course. And I did that. And during that process, I said, wait a second, I think I'm loving this. This is just like a new way for me to reboot for the day. And then I realized I have paint, I have matte paint, I have PPF, I have matte PPF, I have different finishes on my wheels. So I created specific products for those unique surfaces to then have that therapeutic nature on all of my cars. Okay, with that said, I'm gonna show you the step-by-step process and what makes each one of these unique in and of itself. First, we're gonna start with cream. You can see right off the bat, it is red. For those of you who have been with Ammo for 10 or 15 years, my first wax ever was called Cream and it was red. So I'm kind of nostalgic here. Now this is 10 times different and better. We've advanced in the technology in terms of the resins and carnuaba. This has 30% Brazilian carnuaba. So it's incredibly easy to go on, incredibly easy to go off. It smells unbelievable, I guarantee you that. So again, it's that therapeutic aroma of wax in your car. I don't know if we can get a better car in the world than a Lamborghini Miura. Original paint, this blue is spectacular. Off the record, I've waxed this like 15 times because I'm just enjoying myself. But anyways, put it on the applicator, easy on, like easy off, right? So you can go cross hatch. I'm gonna do this little section here just to show you how easy it comes off. So put it down. I have 1 towel, I have 2 towels. You can use 1 or 2. You can do one method, which is just to wipe, a quick wipe like that. There's still a little bit of residue. Flip it over, wipe again, and you're gone. Or you can do the quick wipe and then go in with a second towel and do the final wipe. Very, very easy on and off. So it's much different than, let's say, a coating or a wax that has a coating in it. It's a different feel. It's gonna last between 8 to 10 weeks, depends on your usage. So if you're outside, it's gonna be about 8 to 10 weeks. If you're parking your car inside and it's a Miura like this can last for months and months and months. So to give you a bit of a real world example of the hydrophobic nature of Cream, what I want to do is grab a real world car. This is Laura and Steve's car from across the street. Never been detailed, never been washed, doesn't have anything on it. So what we're gonna do is wash it real quick, do a 50-50, put cream on there and see the before and after in terms of the beading, the hydrophobic nature of cream. Fairly obvious, there's absolutely zero protection on that. All right, when you're cleaning and drying a car that has no protection on it, you can really feel it. And what happens is the water sticks to the surface of the paint. Now, in reverse, if you were to have, let's say, a coating on there or some type of wax on there, it creates a barrier in between the surface of your paint and the water. And what that does is makes a very, very tight bead. So when I go in and dry, you're just rolling those beads, pushing them right off the paint. Drying is 10 times easier when you have a wax on there. So you can feel it, listen. It's very grippy right now. There's nothing in between. Hear that noise? So we're gonna do a 50-50 and I'll put cream on one side and no cream on the other, and you can see just what I'm talking about. Now you're gonna see it bead like crazy. So just to be clear, this is a demonstration on a car that has never been detailed, hasn't been polished, it hasn't been clayed, none of that stuff. So in your case, it's very likely that the car is gonna be in pretty good condition. So this is the worst case scenario. And I would imagine yours is going to be 10 times better than this. So whatever we see now, it's only going to be amplified on your car with a little bit of care. So the before and after on this was absolutely massive. Now the key thing to remember is this wasn't maintained. Likely you watching this right now at home are washing and maintaining your car on a regular basis, so the wax is gonna perform that much better. Now with that in mind, let's go over the step-by-step process for Conceal. Okay, when it comes to Conceal, I'm super stoked about this one. You know, I love waxing my car, but I realized in that process, we have different surfaces to actually wax. In this case, we have the Alpina. It is a matte original finish paint. Then we have the Cayenne. This has a matte PPF, and this has an original or shiny PPF. So we're waxing different surfaces. I want to make the analogy of, let's say I have dry hair, dandruff hair. When I go to wash it with normal soap, it probably is pretty good, but I want to make something specific, shampoo specific to dandruff. Okay, great. Let's say I have oily hair. I want to make a shampoo that has a higher pH because that's very specific. Same kind of concept here. So what I did was, instead of cream where I use carnuaba, Conceal is a synthetic wax designed to prevent fading and discoloration. We've all seen that in clear bras where it turns yellow. And it actually brings out a ton of depth, but has the same type of water beading, which I'll show you in a second, but it does last a bit longer, 12 weeks, and it's really focused on UV protection. It is a game changer. I'm absolutely in love with this. So I'm gonna show you right now. We'll wax a couple of these and hit it with a power washer, and you'll see it just beads, but it is an absolute joy to use. All right, so I just did the 50-50 on the matte hood, and just for clarification, I didn't put the tape line here because I don't like to do that on matte finish paints, but you can see there is a distinctive before and after line. This is very, very deep, very blue versus what I would call white blue now. So you also get that added protection, but you get a deep, rich matte finish paint. So what I'm gonna do right now is just spray the water on there and see the difference. So you can see there is a definitive line right there, and then look at the water kind of sheeting off. But to be fair, at the same time, this is a well-maintained vehicle, but you can clearly see that there is a massive before and after. Also keep in mind, this car, the owner, completely insane, and it's also maintained pretty well. So keep that in mind. Still beating because I did this, so this isn't a great example at the moment, but you can see it's still beating. I did this probably, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and then I just added that. So if anything, it proves that it has longevity for sure. But this is my car, so I'm always waxing it. Bad example, but you get the point. So on my beloved 964, I already waxed it this weekend because I couldn't wait and I went for a drive. So me reapplying it and then showing you bead wouldn't make any sense. I'm just gonna spray water on it because it's only maybe 4 or 5 days old. So check this out. All right, now let's talk about Gelee Wheel Wax. Before we do that, check out this rim. How cool is that? And we're gonna get into that in a second. Look how many spokes that is. Now, when it comes to Gelee, this is 40% carnuaba wax, and it has a higher heat resistance for very obvious reasons. We're working on wheels, and of course you can put it on the calipers and so on and so forth. But back in the day, I had my original Gelee. You actually scooped it out. It was very, very strong, but the downside was it was like glue. You couldn't get it off. And the reason I said that this wheel is so cool is look at all the spokes on this. Imagine you have to go in each one of these and you couldn't get it off. That's a long way of saying the easy on and off was the big hurdle for me on this particular product. So very easy on, very easy off, incredible shine. You get about 8 to 10 weeks durability. It depends on if you're driving, so on and so forth, but it really is focused on high heat. The way you put it on, smells amazing. Purple, again, throw to Gelee, the original one. Couple wipes, and you're working in and out. Again, you have to remember that the idea of these 3 products is really, of course, protection, UV protection, very specific to matte, regular paint, wheels, so on and so forth, but it's about the joy and the therapeutic nature of waxing your car. That's the part that I love, and I love working on the wheels as well. By the time you get all the way around, look how easy it is to remove. That's off, where before it was incredibly sticky. It was good, but it just wasn't user-friendly. So that was where, oh my gosh, the slickness of it afterwards is so cool. And plus your wheels smell like purple grapes. It's really nice. So you can go through this whole thing. It takes you a few minutes. I like to do it, I don't know, once or twice a month just to kind of chill and relax. But I have to tell you, when you clean it off afterwards, let's say you get a little brake dust on there and you go in there with a power washer, it just all falls off. The big question you're probably asking yourself, can I put this over a coating? Absolutely you can. It will bead like crazy. So Alpina wheels for the win. All right, let's do a little housekeeping with some questions based on the testing that I've done for the last couple of months. First one is safe storage. How do you store it, and where is it not a good place to store it? So right off the bat, in terms of the SDS, you don't want to store it in a place that gets over 100 degrees. So a lot of times you have a wax, let's say in Arizona or something, you leave it in your garage, the garage gets up to 100 plus whatever, and then the jar will start to melt, which would make sense. That's how it's actually put into the jar, is it's heated up and then it cools down. So the idea is you don't want to put it in some place super hot. Likewise, when it comes to cold, Usually that's below about 40 degrees. So what I say in the Northeast is to make sure your waxes in particular and your coatings, you want to bring inside and put it in a cupboard or a cubby or wherever that's not exposed to, let's say, a garage that's not heated and cooled. So that's number one. In terms of applying in direct sunlight, of all the products that I have, these are ones that you could potentially do in direct sunlight, but I'm not recommending it. What I mean by that is when you have sunlight hit the car, let's say this one in particular, and this one was parked right next to it, obviously the black is going to absorb more of the UV rays, thus make it hotter, and then it basically decreases the amount of time that you have to take it off. These in particular have an incredibly high tolerance for that, so you would be able to get away with it, but I'm not recommending it. So I would try to do it early morning, late evening, inside your garage, and try to avoid sunlight. But like I said, of all the products I have, this is the one that has the most leeway. Oh, in terms of removing old wax, I got a bunch of questions about that. You can do multiple things. One, you can polish your car and then you'll remove the old wax or the old coating. Most people, what they do is they wash it in Palmolive. I recommend that to a degree. What I recommend is doing foam wash, like the normal wash that you would do, and then add about 50%. So a couple of squirts of Dawn, that type of thing, something from your kitchen, to then add a bit of degreasing elements, emulsification to kind of remove all those old waxes. But usually a healthy wash will get that old wax gone. I'm talking about wax, not necessarily coatings. If you have a coating on there, you are gonna wanna do a very simple polish with exfoliate and a waffle pad to remove everything and then start fresh. Next question is, what's the difference between wax and a coating? So in terms of a coating, that is a semi-permanent layer that you're putting on top of there, and it is highly recommended. It's something that you would, let's say you're a daily driver and you don't have a lot of time to wax and maintain your car. That's typically where that genre of product was designed for. And then obviously on supercars and people who really care about their cars, they put a coating on there because it increases the length in between the time that they have to do maintenance on it, plus it looks really good. The flip side to that is wax has a much warmer glow, depth, and shine, and it's much easier on and off. It's less complicated, it's less expensive. You get 50 to 60 applications out of one jar versus one bottle. That probably gets you one, maybe 1.5 applications. So it's 6 and 1, half dozen the other. It's kind of what you choose. But in terms of wax, this one in particular is focused on that therapeutic nature and getting ridiculous, easy on and off, and crazy hydrophobic nature. Now, the next question is, can I put it on top of a coating? The answer is absolutely. These cars, my cars, are coated because I'm always testing things. I want to see how it works. I want to see the absolute shine, and I believe in layering things. And whatever the top layer is going to give you the most shine with respect to whatever it is. So let me give you an example. So if I have a coating on there, it looks fantastic. It glows. It's very, very bright and wonderful. But to me, I think putting a wax on top of a coating gets you that top layer of warmer, deeper, richer. It's almost like you could pour a bucket of water on there. That's how wet it is. That's what I do for my particular cars. The next question is in terms of show car. Well, if I want to make it the best I possibly could, how would you do that, Larry? That's what I do on these cars. So I polish it first with exfoliate, make sure that any imperfections are gone. You don't have to do this, but this is the show car question. Then what I do is I put a coating on there, let it sit for probably 3, 4, 5 days, make sure that it's actually cured. And then right before the show, I'm saying like right before, the night before or right before you get in the car to leave, like early in the morning, you put one of these waxes on relative to whatever car you have, PPF, so on and so forth. People will lose their mind when you show up because it's almost like it's vibrating when it gets there. So that's my show car tip that I use when I go to any show, and people lose their mind when they see it. So there's that one. Can you apply with other protectants and sealants? Yes, you can have skin on underneath it, and you can have a coating. I sort of answered that in the last one. Oh, where not to use the wax? Any waxes you really don't want to use on trim. Anything that's black plastic trim, you kind of want to stay away from it. If you hit it, it's not the end of the world. You can actually wipe it off. So that's kind of the good part. In the past, when we had sealants and stronger sort of older technology, as soon as you would hit it, let's say on an old school Porsche bumper that has that accordion, it would turn it white. In this case, if you wipe it off soon enough, you're not going to have any problem. Even if you left it for a little while, you're not going to have any problems with it. So, but I would avoid it because it's not actually doing anything beneficial to, black plastic trim, especially textured trim. It's just not for that. You would use something like frame or oleo or mud, something along those lines. So, well, guys, there you have it. Creme, Conceal, and Gelee. I am in love with these products, and I'm super excited for you to experience that same therapy therapeutic nature in waxing your car. Now, I genuinely believe when your car's clean, you feel better. When you feel better, you have more possibilities. Speaking of that, the Mura right now is covered in cream. It looks absolutely fantastic. We're gonna take this thing for a drive. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, Larry at AMMONYC.com. I'll see you next time. Thanks.